guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday, it's Jeanette here. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about hair school because this has been a common enough question that I do want to make a video about this. I've had parents as clients, they always tell me about their kids, and when they're going to school, they have no idea what they want to do, so they recommend doing hair as a career. Of course, I say yes, absolutely. This industry is so fun, so rewarding. There's a lot to do in this field. I'm gonna tell you my process when I went to hair school, how I decided where I wanted to go, what to expect when you go to hair school. Basically, I'm gonna give a little run of my own experience when I went to hair school. Everything that I say on this video is based on my own opinions, my own experiences. If you are going to hair school too, maybe this video will help you out. Without further ado, let's get started. I went to hair school back in 2011, so that's a long time now. It's been almost 8 years. In November, it will be 9 years. Wow, time's just flown by. When I was doing my research, I only knew of Marvell. That's what my school was called at the time. I did a lot of research. I was kind of in a rut after high school. I took a break, worked a few retail jobs. I just didn't see a future in anything. I wanted to go back to school, but I had no idea what to do. I thought, why not do hair? But before I got that epiphany, I actually had a bad day at work. He's my fiance now, but he was my boyfriend at the time. So any of my scenarios that I talk about in my video about my boyfriend at the time, he's now my fiance. I came home from work. I bought 2 box colors. I just did a video on box colors and how it's not professionally recommended to use. I didn't know anything about hair until I went to hair school. So I bought these box colors, came home, I looked at my boyfriend and I said, "Do you feel like coloring my hair today?" Instead, he said no, hands me a pair of scissors, and they're not like shears, the professional ones that I use when I cut my clients' hair. It was just normal household scissors. He asked me to cut his hair. Now, I had no training at this point, so I think I took maybe 2-ish hours just to make everything perfect. I have massive OCD in anything that I do, so I can see how it can be annoying to some people, but it's just how I'm wired. It was probably the boxiest haircut. I swear to God, it was like this, and it was not like I was trying to go for this, but it was like this. And my God, he actually walked around in public for a few weeks to support me, and girls, you need to find yourself a man that will do that for you. That's love. I actually was really scared to enroll into hair school. My parents were really strict growing up. Being Asian, all your parents ever want you to do is be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer, just anything that makes a shit ton of money. I shouldn't swear, a crap ton of money. I waited until they went to Asia because they used to go every summer. Then I enrolled at Marvell. It was the funniest thing because when they came back, they saw me have books. They were super happy because I was taking a break from school, and after high school I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So they were kind of like, ugh, you should go back to school. Otherwise you're not going to have that momentum to keep learning. But if I put my mind to something, then I usually see it through. That's just how I am. If you force me to do something I don't want to do, then I don't want to do it. I went through a process of doing research in the short amount of time that I had, which was like 2 months. I went to Evelyn Charles first, and it was so funny because I'm backtracking, but I will get back to when my parents saw me with books. I went to Evelyn Charles and it was downtown, and it was upstairs on the top floor of this mall. I saw my friends and they looked like they seen a ghost when they saw me. I had one friend, she was like, "What are you doing here?" That friend was a hairdresser. She still is a hairdresser to this day. My second friend, she went there because she wanted to do aesthetics. She wanted to be an esthetician. When she saw me, she was like, "Oh my God, get the F out. What are you doing here?" So it really confused me because I thought this was a really good field to get in, like beauty in general. There was a lot of shady things that happened in the background, which they told me later. I ended up going to the open house, like continuing on with my tour, and I actually saw Evelyn Charles. I met her. I basically interviewed her. I said, "What makes your school the school to go to?" And she looked me up and down and she kind of scoffed. She was like, "'Cause I go here." I was just kind of caught off guard and I was like, okay. At first I thought she was like really cool because she was always like in the newspapers and whatnot, and she was there for the open house, so that to me was a good sign, because if you have a business and you show up all the time and you're always there, then it's a good sign because it shows that you care about your company, right? But based on her answer, needless to say, I didn't go there. I went to Marvell, but when I went, they didn't change the name onto the building of the school, but they changed the name of the school to MC College. I believe it stands for Masters of Cosmetology or something like that. But if I'm wrong, correct me down and below in the comments or reach out. I ended up going there. I'm happy with the choice that I made because everyone is taught so differently depending on the schools. There was another school called Estelle Academy, which I didn't know about until I already enrolled in MC, so it was too late, whatever. I'll go back to the story of my parents. When they actually saw me with books, they were like, oh my god, yay, what are you taking? And I was like, I'm taking hair. Immediate just crickets. They were just like, oh, it was so frowned upon being Asian to be a hairdresser. It's basically where you go, where dreams go to die, basically. They had no faith in me. They were like, oh god, you're wasting all this money on hair. But now, fast forward to now, the present, it's every 2 weeks, it's don't forget to get your tools, bring it over to my house, cut my hair, don't forget the color, don't forget to color up my grays. So I think they're happy with my life choice now, just because I'm doing good with my life now. I know where I'm going, I'm happy where I am in my life. I think that's what parents always want for their kids, but they just have a weird way of showing it when they're Asian. They just don't talk about their feelings that much, or they don't show the support in a right way, but I know deep down they're happy. Back to hair school. Okay, so what to expect when you go to hair school? My first day, I remember there was at least 30 some girls enrolled in the same class. It was super crowded. The first thing we learned was color and the color wheel, and I don't want to bore you guys with all the technical stuff. It was a lot of information on the first day. Some people would skip the next day. You can catch up if you just missed one day, but if you start missing more, because it's 8 hours of school when we went. It's a lot of information that they tell you, and you write down all these notes. They give you these huge thick books that you flip through, and there's just a lot of information to learn. So once girls started skipping, I don't even know why they skipped, because they paid for this course, or unless it's mommy and daddy's money, so lucky them, so they could have the luxury of skipping. But whatever, they're kind of losing out on all the information. Life continues on with or without you. So there's 4 cycles, basically. You get 4 different teachers throughout these cycles. You learn different things with different teachers. My first cycle teacher, I won't say any names just because privacy, and this is my channel, so I can say my personal things, but I want to respect other people on their privacy. She was telling me that the probability of people leaving is 3 out of 4. That is 75% of people that don't even continue doing hair. And that is insane to me, because you spent all this money to do a 10-month course. It's supposed to be super fun. I will get into why people quit, and it's not surprising that people quit, but I also want to make this video just because people seem to think that hairdressing is super fun, which it is, don't get me wrong, but it's also, there's so much things that you have to go through, all these obstacles that you have to go through. Just like anything else in life, it can really be discouraging for people to want to continue in the field. The majority of the group is girls, women, and gay guys. There's nothing wrong with that, but when you're in a building full of estrogen, girls get really petty and they fight about the dumbest things. So you can expect a lot of cattiness in the atmosphere, environment, whatever you want to call it. If you can handle that, then you'll be good. It was very hard for me too, because I am an introvert. I feel like I'm half and half. Sometimes I am like, yeah, let's go party, let's get wasted and whatnot over the weekend. This is when I was younger too. I'm 30 now. When I went, it was like 8 years ago. So yeah, I was in like early adulthood. I'm very different now. Time has calmed me down quite a bit. Other things in hair school to expect too. People are just gonna be really touchy of your hair. If you're not okay with it, then be very upfront with it. But I've always had long hair. I don't really enjoy having short hair. I've cut my hair short before when I was a tomboy. I remember when I was in hair school, I had really long hair, longer than I do now, and this girl just came up to me and just grabbed my hair. And she was like, is this real? And it kind of like invaded my personal space. So I was caught off guard. So I literally looked her up and down and I was like, yes, is yours? And she was like, quiet. So that was super awkward because hers was all extensions, and I was like, okay, I guess in hair school I'm gonna expect more people just grabbing my hair just randomly, not asking for my permission. I just it happened so fast. I had no idea, but I got over it, whatever. So expect that. Girls just fight over the dumbest things, like I was saying before. I remember I got called into the director's office. I was very disappointed. She didn't really get her facts straight before pulling me in the office. It was just he said, she said, and she basically was like, you need to apologize to this girl. I was like, why? Because I didn't do anything to this girl. I basically minded my own business. I was not there to make friends. I was there to finish my course and go work into the real world and make money. I didn't have room for friends because women kind of scare me. I have a group of girls that I will always hang on to, and they are the best girls. I find that girls that think like guys are the best girls, because when they're like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with girly girls, there are plenty of like really nice girly girls out there too, but it's just, maybe it's just me. I personally don't get along with girls, or girls don't tend to like me because I'm super blunt, very black and white. Some guys don't like me too if they're really girly, but I was just not there to make friends. I got into like random fights with like the weirdest girls, and the director made me say sorry. She made me like write this letter, but I refused to do it because I was like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so I don't understand why you're making me do this and not them. But I basically just got up and left because I didn't care. Some people there I didn't really agree with, which leads me to my next point. Teachers play favorites. Just beware of teachers can't speak English. But some teachers do play favorites. I remember my first cycle teacher, she was really good. I really liked how she taught. She was very blunt. I really appreciate honest people and bluntness, just because I don't like it when people beat around the bush. Just say it. Whatever you want to say, just say it. I can handle it. I'm an adult, but I guess there's nicer ways to say things too, which I am still working on as an adult, just because it's hard for me to sugarcoat things. I really like this first teacher, but I also didn't like her. And it's kind of funny because I have some of my teachers still on my Facebook, but I don't talk to them. But she would play favorites. She had this one girl in the class that she absolutely loved. At the end of our cycle, before we went on to the next cycle to meet our new teacher, we had a project to do. It didn't matter what we did. We had to do a photo shoot type thing, like a big transformation, avant-garde style, for our final project. She was one of the judges, and of course everyone worked super hard. We put in so many hours. We didn't get all of our stuff paid for. Some girls spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on their props in the hair and whatnot. My cycle 1 teacher, she just didn't even bother looking at it, or maybe she did and it wasn't her cup of tea. I don't know what she was looking for, but I did like a mermaid dark type of theme, and if I can find pictures, I'll put it here somewhere. But don't judge it. I was obviously still in hair school. I was so proud of it, and I guess I was really salty because she didn't pick mine and she picked her favorite student. Everyone was super mad. Everyone was like, her stuff is so plain. It was the plainest thing ever. I don't even understand how she got it. A lot of upset girls over this. Just beware of that. Teachers do play favorites. I do want to talk about my teachers too. My cycle 1 teacher, she was good. There were some things that she did that I didn't agree with. There was a time she was very blunt. I remember we had a unit. We kind of like got to know each other, and we kind of do more personal things. She kind of teaches us how we have to be in the field. It can be very cutthroat sometimes. And I remember one girl, she wanted to be a tattoo artist, and I guess hair and tattoo, it was very artistic. So she ended up not staying in the program for the remainder of it, but she brought up a question and she said, what if we don't want to wear makeup? We had a unit where we didn't wear makeup to school one day, and we had to do each other's makeup. We basically just saw the difference between doing our own makeup versus doing someone else's makeup, which is hella hard, by the way. So makeup artists, props to you. Good job. I was so shaky. It didn't even look, I needed to be more smoother for sure. But my teacher, I remember she basically was like, well, then you need to find other ways to get prettier. Everyone was quiet. I was like, holy crap, that was so savage of her to say that. She was like, look, I don't want to be like mean about it, but our field is very shallow. There have been studies of people, if you wear makeup and you're well put together in hair school, and when you're out in the salon and working, people tend to tip you more because you're more put together, you're more professional. People are shallow. If you're hideous looking, then there are some people out there. It's 2020, who knows? Maybe times have changed since I was in hair school. People always told me, you need to look the part, you need to look pretty, you need to be professional, otherwise people don't take you seriously, which to me is still true to this day. Nowadays, I find a lot of people, they don't really care about their makeup. The older we get, the less makeup we wear. There are still some people that love to wear makeup. Whatever, it's 2020. You do you, but you might expect that from a teacher if, say, that question does pop up in hair school. I also remember I was sitting in the front, so my teacher was like literally in front of me because she was at a table, like our desk, and it was kind of uncalled for. It kind of made me not like her as much after. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now when I think about it, maybe she was going through something, but she basically skinny shamed me and looked me up and down. Once is fine, but when you keep jabbing at me, it made me feel uncomfortable. We were talking about makeup and whatnot, and she was saying how her husband has never seen her wearing makeup ever. Everyone, after we went on break, everyone was talking about it and was like, oh my god, can't believe her husband's never seen her real face before. Yes, people just need to be careful what they say because people talk a lot of shit. We went back to class and I remember she basically looked me up and down and was like, yeah, my husband would never go for a girl like you. And I was like, what the f? Because, okay, sure, I'm skinny and okay, anyone looks bigger next to me. And I don't want to say like she was big or anything because she definitely wasn't. To me, she wasn't. And I never look at people's weight or anything and judge them based on that. She could have just stopped there, but she basically was like, yeah, my husband would definitely not like even look at you twice, basically making me feel like I was ugly. And I thought that was kind of uncalled for, but whatever, I just let it slide. Maybe she was going through something. After that, I didn't really like her. And then when she was playing favorites, I definitely didn't like her after that. It was good that our cycle was ending. So moving on to cycle 2. Sorry, I'm just rambling on, but I just want to go through everything that I remember because it's been 8 years. I liked my cycle 2 teacher. We were learning about doing updos, a little bit of doing updos. We learned how to do perms. She was a really good teacher. She was very informative. She was really fun. It's kind of weird that you don't really remember your teachers that were super nice. That's all you remember about them. But when they impact you in a negative way, you remember them like forever. I guess it's true what they say. People always remember how you make them feel. I like my cycle 2 teacher. No complaints really. So there are some good teachers. There are some bad teachers. I feel like 3 out of 4 of my teachers I didn't really care for them. They just got the job done. So my 3rd cycle teacher, she loved talking about herself a lot, to the point where she never taught the rest of the curriculum. In the 3rd cycle, I remember we were learning about the anatomy of the body. We had to learn about nails, makeup. It was weird because everyone was like, that's not fair. Why do estheticians not have to know about hair, but we have to know about their stuff? We have to know about nail stuff too, and they don't have to learn about hair. It's just how it goes, just because when you go out into the field and you're actually working, and it's beneficial to know more. The more knowledge you have, more power to you. I completely agree with that. I just wish I got to learn more about what I was supposed to learn versus my teacher's life, because I didn't really care about that. That was bad on her part. My last cycle teacher, she was an effing bitch. I did not like her at all. Near the end of the cycle, I was looking in the closet and I actually stumbled upon a lot of stuff that I did in hair school, so I'm really happy that I kept it. But I have a letter that she wrote to me. So I'm going to pull it up. She just said, "Dear Jeanette, I know I've been hard on you at times, but it was truly just to show you the huge importance theory and practical skills have. You made a big improvement since being in cycle 4. And yes, it only takes that one person to plant that seed in your head like your boyfriend did. You definitely have found your niche. Good luck in the future." And I won't say her name, but she knew she was being a bitch to me. It basically did the opposite effect, because I remember there's a time where you go down to the salon floor and you actually work on actual clients, so you're more comfortable once you start working. We were already working on the floor and I had a color question. It was like just a simple question, and I truly believe there's never a dumb question if you're trying to learn something. There are dumb questions, yes, but if you're trying to learn something as a teacher, I feel that you should teach your student, not make them feel like shit, make them feel useless, make them feel horrible about themselves. And that's basically what she did to me. I asked her this question and she stopped whatever she was doing, looked at me. She was like, "You should know this already. Like, how do you not know this? Okay, 1, a little condescending. 2, you don't need to be a bitch about things. Teach me. That's why I'm asking you a question. So I always said, if I ever became a teacher, maybe someday in the future I'll give back. I feel like this is my way of kind of like teaching you guys too. I would never tell someone, you should know this. Why do you not know this? The fact that she knew that she was being a bitch to me, I just remember I hated her so much because she was so mean to me. When other people asked her questions, she just answered them. What is it about me that people do this? Because I'm gonna make another video about like the salons I worked at too, because I don't want to bore you guys. It's a lot of information, and if I merged it all into one, then it would be a very, very long video, and I think I would bore you guys, unless you guys love when tea's being spilt. I just remember I didn't like that teacher. My 3rd cycle teacher, she was fine. She just talked about herself too much. And my 1st one, she skinny shamed me and I didn't like that. And she played favorites. You definitely, in this field, you get a lot of different characters. If you can just kind of keep to yourself, keep your eyes focused on the goal. And if you can do that, be consistent, and still have that passion to do hair, you can honestly conquer anything. My overall experience, I actually did enjoy hair school. It was fun, but I'm very lucky that I took Cosmo in high school because my hours actually carried over. Instead of being there for 10 months, I was only there for 6. Because my god, girls are so catty and so crazy. I remember girls fought about the dumbest things and they'd be yelling at each other in like the hall. You just wanted to get the heck out of there. I think girls just did a lot of like bitching. But in hair school, you get like a huge book. I remember I had this huge book when I went to hair school. I have all of my notes. This was my book I got in hair school. I still have it. You see all my little tabs here because I'm a nerd like that. I would read and highlight. That's just how I learned. This is what you get in hair school. When I was at Marvell, they taught pivot point. If you ever get a little book like this for exams, this was kind of like a mock exam prep book. So you have like multiple choice, and then you get your answers somewhere in the back here, like here. It was really useful because when I took my red seal and my license exams for the city, just so I'm full journeyman where I am, this was super helpful for me to prep for all that. You get a lot of multiple choice. Once you pass all your theory, you have to do the practical stuff. That's when you bring in your models, and I had to do a men's haircut, I had to do a perm, I had to do color application for women, and a women's haircut, I believe. They used to do it all just in one day, but I think people got so stressed out to the point where they would like faint. I got too stressed out. I remember I took my exam and I was so nervous for it because I'm a horrible exam person. I hate taking exams. The thought of exams just make me all sweaty, like just, yeah, my hands are a little sweaty just talking about it. I just don't like taking exams. The practical stuff, sure, I can do it just because I've been doing it for so many years, but when I first started, it was hard. I made myself so nervous, I gave myself a fever. And my mom was there and she was like, relax, just don't worry, you got this. And my models too, even they were just like, it's okay. And they're just like talking to me in the chair while I was doing it. They're like, relax, breathe, you'll do great. And then I ended up failing because I was so nervous that I just couldn't focus and do my job properly. So I had to retake it again, and that was discouraging. You don't want to fail. I remember the second time I took it, I passed, and then I passed all my other exams, and then I finished all of the multiple choice stuff for my red seal, my license, and then everything was all done. And then that was when I was working at one salon already, but I will save that for next week or for another video for another time. I hope that was informative in some way. You kind of get a glimpse of what it was my earlier years as a hairdresser. It is truly a fun field. I honestly recommend it to anyone that wants to try. It is a very competitive field though, so you need to have a really strong backbone. A big lesson that I would tell my old self is if you can't take critique very well and you get really butthurt about it, then you need to work on that, just because you can't get better until someone tells you your flaws and your faults, because in that way you can go back and you can try it again and keep practicing it and master that skill set, and then you'll be golden. Learning in hair school, it's very important too, the theory of it. I haven't looked at my book in so many years, but when I actually did a video on toners, it was really informative to just kind of go back and get the technical terms for it. If you are going to hair school, read the notes. What I learned in high school, one of my teachers was actually really smart, and he says, if you are going to review, you go back 2 lessons. So the one that you learned that day, the one previously, finish what you learned that day, and then go in the future or what you think you're gonna learn the next day, just so you can prepare, and then you'll have everything all covered from like before, and then you won't forget it. And that stuck with me since high school, so I applied that when I did hair. I need to get 100 because I wanted to do really good in my studies. Try doing that method. Go 2 back, review what you learned that day, and then go 1 for the next lesson. See if that helps. That helped me, but hopefully it helps you too. If I missed anything, and if you have any questions and you are going to hair school, feel free to follow me on my Instagram, DM me. I can try and answer you as much as I can if I get to it, because if I'm not, I'm usually working. I try and check my messages as often as possible. I am more than happy to help, but have a good rest of the day wherever you guys are in the world. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!